If I had a nickel for every time I've had to move the entrance to the underworld this season, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's really, really irritating that I've had to do it twice. Now you might be thinking, Corn, twice? Because, I did say I moved the entrance to the underworld last time, but where's the second time? And the second time is because I've had to move it again. Because, it's super easy to move the entrance to the underworld. That's something I really enjoy doing with my free time. And now you might be thinking, Corn, why'd you have to move the entrance to the underworld again? And perhaps the corollary, who are we killing this time? Because if you'll remember, the last time I had to move the entrance to the underworld, it was because Cadiot showed the entrance on camera. And he's no longer with us. But the answer is, unfortunately, that stabbing will not help in this case. I know, my go-to is stab for a lot of solving problems, but there is no way to stab this cat back into the bag. And now you might be wondering, Corn, what cat in what bag? Where are you getting these cats in bags? But let me just say, remember how we had a big server-wide election for a governor of the shopping district and we voted and it was yay, democracy. Well, as it turns out, sometimes you can just do a political coup, and that works just as well. Jaffa is no longer the governor, so Jaffa, if you're watching this, hey, you get to know that the underworld exists now. But fortunately that means we have a new governor. And the governor is not supposed to know that the underworld exists. Small problem. The governor knows. Because the governor is Percy. My good friend Percy. Percy, who helped me move some people into the underworld, and who, as of before I moved the entrance, knew where the entrance to the underworld is. So that was a problem, so I had to move the entrance to the underworld. And it's really, we had a whole election, and Percy's gonna go and do a coup, and now I can't trust Percy. It's great. And to all those who might seek the underworld, the hint I gave in whichever video I gave it in, it's still valid. And if you're Percy, you heard none of this, okay? Okay, look. Percy, you're the governor, but stay away from the underworld. I know you know it exists, stay away. Just no. But moving right along, I'm not gonna let a silly little thing like an undemocratic coup that overthrew the democratically elected governor, even if he literally just said, yeah, I don't want to be governor anymore, but it's still a coup. There were threats of violence. I'm not gonna let a little thing like that stop me. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to take advantage of it. Political violence? That sounds right up my alley. It's time that I open in the underworld what I've been wanting to open for a while, an assassination business. We just have to do the interior. Interiors with Corn. The assassination business will go in this building, partly because I think it's the coolest building, and also the other reason being that, well, we're kind of running out of empty buildings down here. There's this one, which is tiny, and that one, which is spoken for, so it's going in here. However, before we can actually do the interior, we need to do the diggy-diggies and clear out some space, because I'm not working with this kind of, no, this is too small. We gotta do some diggy-diggy, and regrettably, I have not done it before now, because why would I ever think ahead? So, diggy-diggy, and then we'll continue. Interiors with Corn. Now that the diggy-diggy has been diggy-dug out, we've actually got some space to work with, so we can work on the interior. And that starts with tearing out the floor and replacing it with something that isn't miscellaneous stone. Interiors with Corn. So I've gone ahead and I've put in the floor some carpet, some just plain wood, and I know the obvious question that everyone is thinking right now, which is Corn. Corn, why would you put in carpet? This is an assassination business. Don't you know how hard it is to get blood out of carpet? And to that I say, yes. Yes, I do know how hard it is to get blood out of carpet, but this is why I selected black carpet, okay? It's not going to be that bad. And moreover, there is a very specific aesthetic I'm going for in terms of this assassination business. We have a courthouse on the server, and that means that I need to cover my butt in terms of assassinating people, because what if they try to sue me? Originally, that wasn't going to be a problem, because I helped build the courthouse, and I was going to have Jaffa sign a paper that was going to be hey, anyone who worked on the courthouse can't be sued in it, and that was going to be so good. But Jaffa's no longer governor, so Jaffa no longer has the authority, so I can be sued. Which is really, really irritating, which is why we're going corporate for at least part of the interior here. We're going corporate, and we're going paperwork, and we're going to make sure that nobody can sue me. Hence, the carpet. Down here is going to be a reception area where we store all the paperwork and we make sure everything's in order before we actually get down to the business of me, talking about how I'm going to kill someone for money. But as you can see, this is a very big building. It's not just going to be this floor. It's not just going to be reception. And on that note, why don't we put in the stairs? Interiors with Corn. And the stairs are in. All of them. I admit I sort of entered into a fugue state and then just could not stop building stairs. So now we have 3 floors. But hey, this building is tall. It can fit 3 floors. I don't even know. What do I do with a floor that's this shape? I created it, I guess. And I like sort of the overhang. I liked it while I was building it, but functionally, I'm not quite sure what to do with it, but I'll figure it out. That's a problem for future Corn. But what is a problem for current Corn, at least, is the fact that it's very trippable. And I have feather falling, that's not a major issue, but it does look sort of, unprofessional to not have railings in. So I've put in the stairs. I think it's about time I put in the railings. Interiors with corn. And the railings are in. Aside from, not wanting this to read as reckless endangerment without railings, I do think it looks good, and I can still, run up and jump off if I need to, so functionally, it's about the same. But now that we've got stairs and railings and 2 floors that I don't want to think about right now because I still really haven't figured out what I want them, it's time to focus back on the first floor, which I said was going to be in a reception area. Right now we've got stairs and a carpet. That's not giving reception very much. I'll also functionally need down here somewhere to store all of my paperwork, so I'm thinking maybe some bookshelves, like, the chiseled ones where you can actually put books in them. And if we're doing chiseled bookshelves, then that means for a second wood color down here, we're doing oak. And so with those ideas, I think it's about time we crack in. Interiors with corn. So I've got the bare bones in for the first floor. It's a nice reception area. We've got some chairs to sit at. Over here, I'm going to put all of the policies for, my assassination business, all the things you need to know. And then over here, I'm going to store my paperwork with, nice labels for when I decide what the paperwork is called. We've got a nice reception desk. I think it's pretty good. However, I do think, the lighting could use some work, given that I'm lighting it pretty exclusively with glow lichen, and that's not the best vibe. I'm not sure where I'm going to put the lighting, which is why I haven't put it in yet. But I do feel like something is missing. Like, this is the bare bones of it, but I feel like it could use something more. I'm not sure what, but it could use something more. In order to give myself time to think about what maybe that something more is, I'm just going to move up here and try to figure out what to do with this space that I've created, because it sure is interestingly shaped. I know that the top at this point, I want it to be sort of like a big boss office, with like a table, and I can sit behind it and look menacing. Very much looking forward to that. But here, as sort of, I guess, a transition period, I don't know what to put here, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to figure out the extra detailing that goes down here, because it just feels like it's missing something. We'll figure it out. Interiors with corn. So I've gone ahead and worked on the interior a bit more. I guess what the downstairs was missing is just things for me to randomly shoot. Also, upside of this is that if I ever need to hide anything in this building, we've already got some perfectly good redstone activators just hidden in plain sight, shooting the targets. And then if we go upstairs, I've also worked on this floor a bit. I'm going to be armor standing some things in here, like weapons, I'm pretty sure. But that is a problem for future Corn. Current Corn doesn't want to do armor stands right now. Current Corn wants to keep doing interiors. And then over here, we've got like what looks like, more melee targets. Even though if I try to whack the pot, it completely breaks, so we're going to need to fix that. But it's the thought that counts, and it's the count that thoughts, and ooh, look, another target. And as you can see, redstone, it activates. But, anyway, the time has come to do the big boss room, where I will sit ominously and go over paperwork with people, and things will actually happen in relation to, assassinations. It's an assassination business. This is going to be a really... I want a room that's intimidating. I want a room where I look intimidating in it. And admittedly, I'm not quite sure how I'm getting there, but I'm thinking a desk, I'm thinking maybe paintings, I'm thinking maybe just something intimidating. And so that is the next step. Interiors with corn. I've finished the big boss room, which is hopefully very imposing. I know it's kind of empty. I know. But hopefully I'm going to fix that by just armor standing aggressively. As you can see, all of these folks are going to have weapons, and then it's going to be, I don't know, more impressive. I've been testing it by sitting here in my big chair and trying to think if I look imposing, and I sure hope I do. But yeah, this is the top area. It is specifically a power move that I have the bigger chair here. And all that's left to do, really, is do a whole lot of armor standing, because I've had these hooks everywhere, and now I need to fill them with things. Well, no, that's not exactly accurate. I also have to write up all my paperwork, which is why I have 2 shulkers of books. And I really hope there's some way to copy a book in Quill that doesn't involve, like, saving it so you can't write in it. But who's to say? We'll find out. It's armor stand time, and it's book writing time, and it's a whole lot of pain time. Interiors with corn. So, funny thing. As in the kind of funny thing that makes me want to scream very, very loudly, but still, nonetheless, funny thing. There is not an easy way to copy unsigned books. And now you might be wondering, Corn, why not just sign the books? Why not just sign the books and make your life so much easier? Because, like, these are just contracts, right? You don't, it's not like you're trying to get evidence of the person, like, actually signing it, because Minecraft has a mechanic where when you sign a book, it takes your ID. No, it's not like you were trying to use that, Corn, so it's totally fine, if you just copy signed books, but no, it's not. I am trying to use that mechanic. I'm doing contracts here, okay? I'm doing contracts, I'm doing forms, I want to take advantage of them. that mechanic, so the books can't be signed, so I have to copy each book by hand. It takes time. I am copying and pasting, so it doesn't take as much time as, like, rewriting each book. It is annoying. It is very, very annoying. I had 4 or 5, I honestly don't remember at this point, books I had written out, and each one was, like, between 5 and 8 pages. So on average, that's like 6.5 pages. So that's 6.5 copies. And additional fun fact, did you know if you don't click done when you're editing a book, it doesn't save. It legitimately doesn't. So I spent a good amount of time being like, wow, everything I'm doing is disappearing before me. I keep rolling rocks up hills because I didn't know to click the done button. And I had to search the wiki being like, why are my books deleting themselves? Because if you hit escape, it doesn't save, but if you hit done, it does. It's like, okay, things I should have known before I started this. It's fine. It's fine. It's not like a large portion of my time I'm never going to get back because I spent it copying books by hand. But it's fine. It's fine. I do wish Mojang had a way to copy unsigned books, because that would have made my life infinitely easier. Please, Mojang, why are you like this? And I was later told by a friend afterwards that there's a mod that will let you copy unsigned books. Like, come on. So anyway, yeah, I finished it. I've gotten all the paperwork written up, and that's basically the end of my rant. So let's go have a nice final tour to wrap up the episode. I'm starting my tour from the tunnel, just so I can have, a small rant about how, the tunnel's longer than it was last time, because, I've had to move the entrance, so the walk is just slightest bit longer, just a bit longer, ever getting longer. The more people find the entrance, and they're not supposed to, the longer I have to make this tunnel, but hopefully 2 times is the charm. 2 times are the charm, I won't have to do it again. And now that we're here, we can see my favorite view of the city from above. You can especially see little bits of the interior poking through here, which is absolutely my favorite part of putting in a new building. So, down we go, and we actually get to have a tour of the building, and I missed the water because I'm me. So, if we go right on inside, you'll see reception filled with all of the different forms that I spent so long on copying each and every one for different purposes. We've got the basic information form, we've got the insurance form, we've got the non-disclosure agreement form, we've got the actual contract form, and then we've got miscellaneous blank books in case I need to write up a contract on the fly. More than that, as decoration, we've got random things I can shoot, because who's gonna say no to that? And we've also over here got all of corn-tract killings, business practices, and business terms. And you might be like, corn-tract killings? And yes, that is the name of this business, because I'm sorry, assassination business doesn't exactly roll off the tongue in the same way corn-tract killing does. And moving right along up the stairs, you'll see I've actually gotten around to armor standing. We've got all these crossbows. Don't worry, they're loaded. It's just in case of emergencies. We've got a wither rose over here, because, it's pretty fitting. And if we go up, we get the big boss office that finally has all of the armor stands in, where I can sit at my desk and look ominous. After all, the boss is in.